Why quitting sugar after 60 changes everything. Eleanor used to love mornings, but at 63, they began to feel heavy, her joints stiff, her face bloated, her mind foggy. She chalked it up to aging. "This is just what getting older feels like," she told herself. But what if it wasn't? What if the real culprit wasn't time? But something on her plate? Eleanor stumbled across an article one night that read, "You're not aging. Your insulin is exhausted." It caught her off guard. She thought insulin had to do with diabetes, not her stiff hands or puffy cheeks. But the article said sugar, yes, even the one in her healthy granola, was silently inflaming her body, disrupting her hormones, and erasing the sharpness from her face. She'd tried diets before: keto, low-fat, even intermittent fasting. Nothing stuck. But this wasn't a new plan. It was a pause. No sugar, just 14 days. She was skeptical, but curious. Day one was awkward. She realized sugar was everywhere. Salad dressings, flavored yogurt, even her so-called wellness smoothie. She felt a little panicked, but instead of giving up, she made small swaps. Yogurt instead of vanilla. Water me lemon instead of juice. She wasn't perfect, but she tried. By day 3, her cravings had dulled. She didn't feel the usual 10 a.m. need to snack. And something else was happening. She slept straight through the night for the first time in weeks. On day 5, Eleanor glanced in the mirror and blinked. Her cheeks were flatter. Her jawline reappeared. Her eyes looked less tired. Her daughter said, "You look rested, Mom." It wasn't magic, it was inflammation retreating. Sugar isn't just in your blood, it's in your cheeks. Suddenly, it made sense. What she thought was aging was swelling. But the changes didn't stop with her face. By day 7, Eleanor realized her energy was more even. No more 3 p.m. crashes or frantic snacking. Her mood was steady. She wasn't snapping at small things or feeling overwhelmed by her to-do list. She'd read about how sugar spikes then crashes your blood sugar. And when that roller coaster runs for decades, your insulin, the hormone responsible for balance, gets worn out. That's insulin resistance. And it touches everything: sleep, late, memory, joints. By day 10, Eleanor's knees felt looser. Her wedding ring fit better. Even her digestion, once a source of bloating and discomfort, seemed calmer. She started journaling. Just small notes on how her body felt, what she noticed. The most powerful line she wrote? "I feel like myself again." By day 12, something unexpected happened. She didn't miss sugar. She didn't crave the cookies in the pantry or the caramel creamer. She felt free, like sugar no longer called the shots. Eleanor also noticed something deeper. Her brain was sharper. She could recall names faster. She finished sentences with ease. For months, she'd feared early signs of cognitive decline, but now she wondered if it was just inflammation clouding her mind. On day 14, she took a new photo and put it next to one from 2 weeks ago. The contrast was quiet but undeniable. Her face looked lifted, her eyes brighter, her smile less forced. She showed it to her husband. He stared and said, "Wow, you really do look different." And she felt different. Not lighter in weight, lighter in spirit. That's the thing about quitting sugar after 60. It doesn't just change your numbers, it changes your outlook. So here's the truth. You're not too old to change. You're not stuck. Your body hasn't given up. It's just been waiting for relief. Quitting sugar isn't about deprivation. It's about listening. Giving your organs, your hormones, your mind the quiet they've been begging for. And the beauty is, the transformation begins within days. No pills, no extreme diets, just a break from the thing that's been slowly wearing you down. If you're curious, take one step, a photo, today, just you in the mirror. Then give your body 14 days without added sugar. Replace sweet drinks with water. Skip the sneaky sauces. Choose whole foods. Write down how you feel each morning. Watch what changes first. Your face? Your sleep? Your energy? You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. Because aging isn't the problem. Sugar is. Before Linda lost a single pound, something surprising happened. Her sister said, "Your face looks different." It wasn't a compliment about weight loss or makeup. It was something softer, more curious, like the light in her expression had changed. Linda, 67, had always assumed her face was aging normally. Rounder cheeks, soft jawline, a general puffiness she'd come to accept as part of getting older. She avoided mirrors, filtered her Zoom camera, and quietly envied older actresses who somehow kept their contours. But then she stopped eating sugar, not because of her face, but because of fatigue. After reading about how sugar impacts insulin, sleep, and energy, she committed to a 14-day sugar break. What she didn't expect, what no one warned her, was how fast her face would tell the story. By day 5, it was undeniable. The swelling was leaving, and under the roundness, definition was returning. The face is a map, and sugar leaves clues. Puffiness around the eyes, dullness in the skin, a jawline that slowly fades. For years, Linda thought she just had a round face, but she hadn't always. Photos from her 40s showed a much sharper version. Same bone structure, but less fluid. What no one told her is that sugar doesn't just sit in your belly, it sits in your face. The technical reason? Inflammation and water retention. When insulin is overwhelmed, your body stores more water in tissues. The result? A subtly swollen look that's often blamed on age. It's not fat, it's fluid. Linda compared a photo from day 1 to day 6. Her cheekbones had reappeared. Her under eyes looked tighter. Her skin had more clarity. Even her forehead seemed smoother, like the bloat was lifting off. All from cutting sugar. No pills, no facials, just absence. And it wasn't just visual. She felt it too. Less pressure behind her eyes, less tightness in the mornings. Her face didn't feel full anymore. It felt awake. Sugar was the culprit all along. Not just candy, but the sugar hiding in sauces, healthy cereals, fruit yogurts. Each bite was pushing her insulin to work harder, pulling more water into her tissues and slowly erasing her facial definition. What shocked Linda most was how fast her body responded. It was like the inflammation had been waiting for permission to leave. And once sugar was gone, her face began to age backward. Not in the dramatic sense, but in a way that felt more like herself again. People noticed. Her husband said, "You look more rested." A friend at yoga asked if she'd done something new. These comments weren't about weight. They were about presence, clarity, the kind of shift that's hard to name, but easy to feel. Here's why this matters. Most people chasing better health don't look at their face as a clue. But it's the first place inflammation shows up and the first place it recedes. If you're over 60 and feel like your face has changed shape, it might not be age. It might be sugar. And unlike age, sugar is something you can change. You don't need Botox. You need balance. When your insulin calms, your body releases its grip. Your tissues stop holding on to fluid. The mask slowly lifts and your real contours return. It's subtle, but powerful. Linda didn't diet. She didn't fast. She just said no to sugar for 14 days and let her body do the rest. So if you're curious, here's one small step. Take a photo today. Just your face. Look closely. Your eyes, your jaw, the texture of your skin. Then go 5 days without added sugar. Just 5. Read labels. Skip sweet drinks. Choose whole foods. Focus on keeping your carbs low and your meals clean. Then, on day 5, take another photo. Notice the contours, the brightness, the way your eyes sit. This isn't vanity, it's biology. Your face is always speaking. It often knows what's wrong before your scale or your lab tests do. So listen, because when sugar leaves, your face tells the truth. And the truth is, you've been in there all along, just waiting to be seen again. When Walter's eyes started getting blurrier, he blamed his reading glasses. When his bladder kept waking him twice a night, he blamed age. And when he couldn't recall the name of the neighbor he saw every week, well, he just sighed and said, "Getting old is weird." But something inside him felt unsettled. He wasn't sick. His doctor visits were normal. Yet life felt like it was quietly slipping. His vision dimmer, his thoughts slower, his energy missing. At 66, Walter didn't want another supplement or fad diet. He wanted clarity. Then he heard something on a podcast that stopped him. Sugar inflames you from the inside out. You don't see it until it's too late. The host called it silent rust, said it shows up not just in weight, but in your organs, your eyes, your arteries, your brain. Walter paused, and for the first time, he wondered, what if sugar was aging him more than time? He decided to try something simple. No sugar for 2 weeks. No fancy program, just no sweet drinks, no bread, no sneaky sauces. He replaced them with eggs, greens, lemon water, and simple home-cooked meals. On day 3, something strange happened. He only woke up once to pee. By day 5, his vision felt less cloudy in the mornings. By day 7, he noticed he could follow conversations without zoning out. And by day 10, he remembered the name of a man he hadn't seen in years. Walter didn't expect his internal systems to respond so fast. But they did. His kidneys, less stressed, now flushing toxins more evenly. His arteries, less inflamed, easing pressure on his heart. His brain, sharpening, like a fog slowly lifting. His eyes, no longer aching behind the screen. It was like parts of him were rebooting, silently thanking him for the sugar break. This is the part most people don't realize. Sugar's damage isn't loud. It's slow, quiet, cumulative. You don't notice when insulin stops responding well. You just feel tired. You don't see your arteries inflamed. You just feel heavy after climbing stairs. You don't realize your kidneys are overworking. You just wake up at 2 a.m. needing the bathroom. And you don't sense brain inflammation. You just can't find your words. Walter didn't need medical charts to know healing had begun. He felt it. In the stillness of better sleep. In the calm between meals. In the absence of brain fog. He wasn't counting calories. He wasn't chasing results. He was just giving his body silence. And in that silence, things started working again. The healing starts before weight loss. That's the myth sugar lovers cling to, that if you're not dropping pounds, nothing is happening. But inside, your cells are sighing in relief. The moment sugar disappears, insulin can finally take a break. Inflammation starts cooling, and systems that were surviving shift into repair mode. Walter noticed it in unexpected ways. His skin felt smoother. His feet didn't tingle at night. Even his memory improved. He could recall small things faster with less frustration. He realized sugar hadn't just affected his waistline. It had affected who he was, how he thought, how he moved, how he slept. All of that began changing in 14 days. So if you're over 60 and wondering why your body feels off, look inward, not just at your stomach, but your organs. They've been carrying the load of sugar for decades, and they're tired. Give them a break. Skip the muffin. Leave the soda. Say no to dessert, just for now. And watch what happens, not on the scale, but in your life. How many times do you wake up at night? How sharp is your memory? How calm is your thinking by afternoon? These aren't minor wins. They're markers of deep healing because your body wants to work. It just can't do it under the weight of constant sugar. Let it breathe. Let it repair. And one morning, like Walter, you may wake up and realize you again. Janet had a strange relationship with energy. At 65, she wasn't tired in the way sleep could fix. She was drained, heavy, as if her battery never fully charged. Every morning began with coffee and carbs. Every afternoon dragged her through a fog. And every evening ended with a snack to keep her mood steady. She didn't think it was unusual. Most of her friends felt the same. They blamed aging, hormones, retirement boredom. But Janet couldn't shake the feeling that something deeper was off. Then one day, she read a line that stopped her. "You're not tired, you're misfueled." The article explained that our bodies are designed to burn fat, an abundant, steady fuel. But sugar gets in the way, constantly spiking insulin, locking fat away, and leaving us hungry and exhausted. It compared sugar to lighting matches for warmth, while fat is like switching on central heating. That image stayed with her. She decided to test it. One weekend, no sugar, no crackers, juice, cereal, or sneaky sauces. She kept her carbs under 50 grams a day. Eggs, leafy greens, olive oil, salmon. It wasn't fancy, but it was fuel. On day 2, something changed. She didn't crash in the afternoon. Her energy didn't spike. It leveled. It felt like the noise in her body had been turned down. On day 3, she realized she hadn't snacked once, not even thought about it. By day 5, her brain felt steadier. No racing thoughts, no sugar crashes. Just a sense of calm, like her body had exhaled for the first time in years. And then it hit her. Cravings weren't a character flaw. They were a signal. Her body wasn't broken. It was stuck on the wrong fuel. She wasn't weak. She wasn't addicted. She was just burning the wrong thing. Here's what most people miss. Sugar is unstable fuel. It burns fast and demands more. You spike, you crash, you snack. It becomes a cycle of chasing energy, never finding it. But fat is quiet. It burns slow and clean. It doesn't beg for snacks. It doesn't make you anxious by 3 p.m. It doesn't send you to the kitchen looking for chips you hid from yourself. Once insulin calms down, and it only takes a few days, your body unlocks fat. That's when the shift begins. And it's not just physical, it's emotional. Janet noticed she wasn't as reactive. The little annoyances, dogs barking, emails piling up, didn't send her into a spiral. Her thoughts felt spacious. Her hunger felt gentle. She could go 5 hours without eating and not even notice. That was new. That was freedom. Most diets talk about cutting. This isn't about cutting. It's about switching from fast to stable, from crash to calm, from constant hunger to deep, steady energy. And you don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to try. Give your body a break from sugar, and it will remember what to do. If you've never experienced fat-fueled energy, here's your invitation. Try a weekend with under 50 grams of carbs per day. No sugar, no grains, no starchy snacks, just real food, eggs, greens, healthy fats, protein. Then journal how you feel. Don't track weight. Track calm. Track hunger. Track mood. You'll be surprised at how fast the shift begins. By day 7, Janet was sleeping better. Her energy felt clean. Her cravings were gone. She no longer lived from snack to snack, chasing energy like a hamster on a wheel. She felt fed, not just in her body, but in her mind. Cravings became whispers instead of screams. Food became nourishment instead of noise. That's what happens when your body runs on fat. It stops begging. It starts serving. So if you're tired of being tired, of feeling off, of thinking willpower is your only hope, you are not broken. You are just misfueled. And the fix doesn't cost money. It doesn't require pills, just a decision to stop feeding sugar and start feeding yourself. If these insights are helping you reconnect with your body, consider subscribing to Graceful Health Life. Every week, we share gentle, science-based tips for your age, your pace, and your path to healing. Because energy shouldn't be chased, it should be yours. Margaret had been stuck for years. At 68, she'd tried everything. Walking 5 miles a day, eating salads, skipping meals. The scale would move a little, then stall. Her clothes stayed tight. Her belly felt stubborn. And every time she lost a few pounds, they came right back. Friends told her, that's just what happens after menopause. Her doctor said, eat less, move more. But Margaret felt like she was doing everything right, yet getting nowhere. One night, frustrated and wide awake at 2 a.m., she searched, why won't my belly fat go away after 60? She found something she'd never considered. You're not stuck, you're inflamed. And more importantly, true weight loss begins where sugar ends. That phrase made her pause. Could sugar, not calories, be the lock she'd never thought to turn? The next morning, Margaret made one decision: no sugar for 14 days. She didn't count calories. She didn't weigh herself obsessively. She just stopped feeding the inflammation. No desserts, no crackers, no hidden sugars in sauces or soups. By day 4, she noticed something. Her hands looked thinner, her face less puffy. She hadn't lost weight, but she'd lost swelling. Then came day 6. Her waistband felt looser. Not dramatically, but just enough to notice. By day 10, she measured her waist. She was down 1 inch. The scale hadn't changed much, but her shape had. That's when she realized she wasn't just losing water, she was finally tapping into fat. The kind that hides deep around your liver, your belly, your organs. The kind that causes fatigue, cravings, and mood swings. And the thing that had blocked her all those years: insulin. Here's the truth most people over 60 aren't told. Weight loss isn't just about diet or discipline. It's about unlocking the body's ability to burn fat. And the key, insulin. When insulin is high, your body holds on to fat. It stores instead of burns, especially in the belly and around your liver. That's why, no matter how little you eat, The fat won't budge because the door is locked. But when sugar disappears, insulin calms. And that's when your body finally stops clinging to stored fat. That's what happened to Margaret. Her belly softened. Her digestion improved. Her afternoon energy returned. And even better, her cravings quieted. This wasn't the kind of weight loss that disappears with a cheat day. This was metabolic change. Her body had flipped a switch. Margaret began measuring inches, not pounds. She kept track of how her jeans fit, how her rings slid on easier, how she could walk upstairs without feeling winded. The number on the scale mattered less because her body was reshaping from the inside out. And it wasn't just about fat. It was about inflammation. Sugar had silently inflamed her joints, bloated her belly, and stalled her metabolism. Now, without it, she felt lighter, in more ways than one. She wasn't starving. She wasn't over-exercising. She was just finally working with her body, not against it. That's why this weight loss stayed, because it wasn't forced. It was released. If you've ever asked, why won't my belly go away? Stop blaming effort. It's not about trying harder. It's about using the right key. And for many over 60, that key is removing sugar and resetting insulin. You don't need to starve. You don't need fancy supplements. You need to stop inflaming your body with every bite. Start simple for 14 days. Focus on clean protein, healthy fats, leafy greens. Walk daily. Drink water. And instead of watching the scale, track your waist. Measure it on day 1 and again on day 14. Notice how your clothes fit, how your stomach feels, how your energy shifts. That's where real fat loss lives. And if you found hope or insight in this story, consider subscribing to Graceful Health Life. Every week, we share science-backed steps for graceful weight loss, healing, and energy without punishment or pressure. You don't have to fight harder. You just have to heal smarter. Linda had tried everything, just never long enough to feel anything shift. At 63, she had stacks of health books, dusty resistance bands, and a mental catalog of every quick-fix diet from the past 30 years. Her pantry was full of low-fat crackers. Her fridge always had fruit-flavored yogurt. She called it eating healthy, but she still felt stuck. The belly fat never left. Her energy dipped mid-morning. Her memory fumbled more often than she admitted. And every attempt at change ended in frustration by day 3. She blamed herself. "I have no discipline," she whispered one night after skipping dinner only to eat cookies at midnight. Then she read this: "The body doesn't heal instantly. It reveals change in stages, if you give it time." That was different. Less guilt, more curiosity. So Linda did something radical. She stopped chasing perfect and committed to consistent. Just 14 days. Real food. No sugar, no grains, no fake healthy snacks. Days 1 through 3. The curtain lifts. The first day, Linda felt she missed her crackers, her coffee creamer, the mindless snack while watching TV. Her brain looked for distraction. Her body looked for sugar. But something else happened. Her sleep deepened. She didn't wake up groggy or with night sweats. By day 3, she noticed she wasn't bloated after lunch. Her rings fit easier. Her stomach wasn't screaming for snacks every 2 hours. Cravings weren't gone, but they weren't urgent. She was seeing beneath the curtain of noise her body had grown used to. Days 4 through 7, the brain fog starts to clear. This was the turning point. Linda could follow a conversation without drifting. She stopped forgetting why she walked into rooms. Her afternoon slump softened. She didn't reach for caffeine at 2 p.m. Instead of chasing energy, she felt it arriving, calm, steady, unhurried. Her skin looked brighter. Her morning walks felt easier. The mental cloud was thinning. Days 8 to 10, the body responds. Linda didn't weigh herself daily. She paid attention to her clothes instead. And on day 9, she smiled. Her waistband was looser. Her face looked less puffy in the mirror. Her digestion was gentler. Her knees didn't ache as much on the stairs. She hadn't done anything extreme. She simply stopped feeding inflammation. She realized it wasn't about eating less. It was about eating differently. Days 11 through 14, reconnection. The most surprising change wasn't physical. It was mental. Linda felt present. She could cook without feeling rushed. She could listen to her husband without zoning out. She sat on the porch with tea and felt peace. Not boredom, not an urge to check her phone, just stillness. On day 13, she wrote in her journal, "I feel like I found a version of myself I forgot I missed." On day 14, her daughter said, "Mom, you look really happy lately." That's when Linda knew this wasn't a diet. It was a homecoming. Here's the truth about the 14-day reset. It doesn't change your entire life, but it reminds your body how to heal. Inflammation quiets. Blood sugar stabilizes. Cravings lose their voice. Your mind stops chasing its tail. Your hunger becomes peaceful instead of panicked. And most important, you start trusting yourself again. You see that the problem was never you. It was the noise in your food. And now you know what silence feels like. So if you've ever said, "Maybe I'm just getting old," try saying something else. Maybe I just need 14 days. Start with your fridge. Clear out the sweet yogurts, sugary dressings, granola bars hiding behind health claims. Replace them with eggs, spinach, salmon, olives. Real food, whole ingredients. Nothing with a commercial. Then give yourself 14 days, not to punish, but to listen. Journal what you feel. Write down how you sleep. Measure your waist. Don't obsess, observe. And if this journey speaks to you, consider subscribing to Graceful Health Life. Every week, we share gentle stories, tips, and science for women over 60 who are done chasing diets and ready to rediscover trust in food, in their body, and in themselves. Because 14 days isn't the goal, it's the door. Claire didn't recognize herself anymore. At 69, she expected wrinkles, but what she didn't expect was the look in her own eyes. Tired, dulled, as if someone had lowered the contrast on her entire face. Her skin had lost its glow. Her thoughts came slower. Some days, even her reflection felt like a stranger. She didn't feel old, but she felt invisible. That changed one afternoon when her grandson asked, "Grandma, are you sad?" She wasn't, but something in her body had dulled, and it was starting to show. Later that night, she stumbled on a phrase that caught her breath. Every spoon of sugar adds one wrinkle, inside and out. But it also sounded like the truth no one had told her. What if sugar wasn't just hurting her body, but erasing her glow? Claire didn't go on a diet. She didn't sign up for a boot camp. She just stopped eating sugar for 14 days. No cookies, no cereal, no juice. She replaced them with real food: eggs, avocado, water, greens. She didn't count macros. She just chose clean. By day 4, her skin felt different. Not tighter, calmer. Her morning puffiness faded. The bags under her eyes softened. By day 7, she caught herself smiling in the mirror, not because she looked younger, but because she looked alive. She hadn't used a new cream. She hadn't changed her lighting. She'd just removed what had been dulling her from the inside. Sugar. Her sleep also shifted. Deeper, longer. She woke up clearer. Conversations came easier. Words returned faster. She didn't lose her train of thought as often. And for the first time in months, she felt like her brain and body were on the same page. Most people think aging is a straight line. Wrinkles, forgetfulness, slower days. But much of what we call aging is actually inflammation, a silent flame fed by sugar. Sugar inflames your skin, breaking down collagen and elasticity. That's why skin looks dull or saggy. But it also inflames your brain. It disrupts the neurons responsible for memory, mood, and sharpness. Claire had always believed she needed better skincare or supplements, but now she realized her body didn't need more stuff. It needed less noise. The moment she gave her insulin a break, the fog began to lift. Her skin tone brightened. Her mood steadied. Her memory sharpened. She even started recalling details from old stories she hadn't thought about in years. And people noticed. Her daughter asked, "Did you do something with your hair?" Her neighbor said, "You look so well rested." But it wasn't rest. It was clarity. Claire started writing again. Nothing fancy, just little reflections each morning. But her handwriting looked steadier, her mind more focused. She noticed textures in her skin she hadn't seen in a decade. She remembered to water the plants without setting an alarm. It wasn't youth she was regaining. It was self, the kind that feels aware, awake, present. That's the hidden anti-aging switch. Not in a bottle, not at a clinic, but at your kitchen table. Every spoon of sugar dulls your light. Every meal without it clears the glass a little more. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to begin. So, if you've ever looked in the mirror and thought, "Where did I go?" For the next 14 days, skip sugar. All of it. The obvious stuff and the sneaky stuff. No flavored yogurts, no sweetened teas, no granola bars pretending to be healthy. Replace them with protein, fiber, clean fat, and water. Then, each morning, write down 3 words about how you feel. Just 3, on day 1 and again on day 14. You won't just see the difference in your skin. You'll feel it in your thoughts, in your voice, in the way people respond to your energy. If you felt faded, lost, or foggy, it's not permanent. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are simply overdue for a reset. And if you found this message encouraging, consider subscribing to Graceful Health Life. We share science-backed ways to renew energy, mood, and beauty at your own pace. Because when you feel better, you shine, and others will notice.